At one time, prisons were run only by government. But in the U.S., over the past 30 years, there has been a growing private prison sector that has delivered impressive earnings for shareholders, but also prison breakouts, riots, and civil rights claims against the companies that run them. Three of the nation's largest private prison companies are CCA, with about 66 prison facilities, GEO with 61, and MTC with 25. CCA and GEO are both publicly traded companies on the New York Stock Exchange. As part of our Dollars Behind Bars series, Fred Davie joins us. He is the Executive Vice President of the Union Theological Seminary in New York, which is associated with Columbia University. He is a frequent critic of private prisons. Fred, welcome to Arise Xchange. Thank you for joining us. A very interesting topic. When you go to one of these private prisons, do they say private prison on the side? Do they have a sign of the name of the company? Because I'm wondering how many people realize that a lot of these prisons are actually private companies.
Well, yeah, I think the intent of these prisons is for people to not know they're private companies, but there are those of us who believe and know that it's morally wrong for the government to be turning over human bodies for these prisons to actually incarcerate.
How did we get there, though? Because the government has said that sometimes private industry can do this better, more efficiently, and in fact provide safer atmospheres.
Well, the juries, there's no conclusive evidence on any of that. And even if they could, we shouldn't be making money off the bodies of individuals. Individuals, human beings, black and brown bodies shouldn't be units of production off of which people make profit. That's simply wrong. But there's no evidence that these prisons do actually save the government money. In fact, I think there's a study out of Arizona that Think Progress has done that actually shows that you end up paying more money, that the state of Arizona ended up paying more money with private prisons, not less. So it's just not the kind of policies that the government should be promoting. And I just think it's morally wrong for individuals to be making money by trading in human flesh.
And the prisons have had a series of problems as well, which is not to say that the public prisons are a whole lot better necessarily. In New York State, for example, we have the Rikers Jail, which has been heavily criticized.
Here's the thing. Okay. We need to, first of all, we need to stop sending so many people to jail.
Right.
It's a waste of public money. It's a waste of human lives. We send people to jail now primarily for infractions, that nonviolent infractions that are based on their previous times.
And we're hearing that as part of the presidential campaign now from politicians on both sides of the aisle. You have Rand Paul and Cory Booker teaming together and saying too many Americans are incarcerated.
Van Jones and Newt Gingrich across the board. I was on the phone just before coming here with a fellow from the Bush administration that I used to work with. I've done work with the Obama administration as well, lean just a little left of center. But on the phone with the fellow from the Bush administration, we're planning a conference on how to keep people from going back to prison. We should not be making money off the backs of people. That's the bottom line.
And we should not be making policy decisions based on lobbying efforts of private companies when it comes to prisons, I guess is your argument as well.
That's exactly right. And look, it just doesn't make, it harks back to slavery, actually, it seems to me, when we are incarcerating people so that people in boardrooms, people who are shareholders in prisons, and CEOs can make profits off the lives of these men and women and not improve their lives. The government should simply be trying to empty prisons.
But these companies will tell you that they are doing a much better job of educating prisoners for release. I mean, we can't say that the government has been doing...
There's no evidence of that.
But the
government can do better.
Can the government do better?
Yeah, absolutely. The government should always do better. There's more accountability with the government. We, the people of these United States of America, can hold the government. Sure, there are more opportunities for accountability, right? See, if it's a private prison, what right do I have as a private individual to address what's going on in that prison? If it's a public prison, then I have every right to do it. Every citizen does. That's why we have public prisons. That's why the government should be in charge of dealing with issues of crime and not private entities. And there definitely shouldn't be any profit motive in this.
That's why we have public police forces.
That's why we have public police forces.
Fred Davie, Executive Vice President with the Union Theological Seminary. Terry, you've written a lot about this. We're happy back on. Thank you.
Thank you so much.